welcome to Superintendent Update. I'm Nicci Kadilak with Burlington Buzz, and here I have Dr. Eric Conti, Superintendent of Schools.
Hi, Nicci.
Hey, how are you?
Great.
Pretty good. All right, so let's talk about, it's late October, coming up on November. The first quarter is ending for high schoolers, and the first trimester is starting to end for the younger kiddos. How are things going?
I think things are going really well. I've been out in the schools, and oftentimes the picture that people get of the district for the few glimpses they have are very different than what's actually happening. So in the buildings, the teachers are working incredibly hard. The kids are going to class. They seem engaged. October is a really important month, and as we were discussing prior to the camera being on, you really want to see those routines established. You really don't want to see a whole lot of changes. You just want to, kids need time in class and time to learn, and I think that that's been, October's been a month for that, so I think I've been very pleased with what's going on.
All right, wonderful. Well, speaking of October, that's the month, the very fabled and storied month that MCAS results come out. MCAS, as we know, is the state standardized assessment for third grade through high schoolers.
Yep.
How did Burlington do? And let's just talk a little bit about assessment overall within the school district.
Well, again, we don't have a 2-hour show,
That's
so
true.
MCAS is designed to, I always think of it's really about more of a measure for adults than it is for kids. So MCAS measures whether we are aligning our curriculum with the state standards, state framework, state expectations. So it's the state's way of asking, if we ask you to teach 2-digit addition in third grade, we're going to ask you questions about 2-digit addition in third grade. So we sort of make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do. How did Burlington do? Again, I think we are, our performance was a little flat, but we're still seeing growth. And we look at our results in comparison to sort of state average and also like districts. Growth is something that's really important to us because, again, it's a criterion referenced test. It's not a norm referenced. It answers where you are based on a body of knowledge. That is criterion. So it really depends where the child starts. If you think about that body of knowledge as a mountain, some kids start at the top of the mountain. They don't have far to go. Some kids start 3 towns before the mountain, and even if they get to the base of the mountain, that's an incredible job of teaching and learning, but may not be reflected in the on the exact assessment. So again, I think it's something that's important to us. I never want to discount them. I'm never satisfied with them. Always want to do better. But we have better instructional measures, and those instructional measures are what we call, when we, at the elementary level, when we universally screen, we do that 3 times a year, much more timely. Again, the MCAS scores we're seeing in October were provided last spring. Not a whole lot of opportunity for us to make adjustments for individual students. We can adjust our curriculum, but not individual students. And then we do a lot of progress monitoring of our elementary students, and sometimes it's every 2 weeks. So we want teachers to have the tools to make adjustments, and I always want to make sure I stress that assessment happens every day, and teachers are constantly assessing their students that are in front of them and making adjustments for those students. So that's happening every day too, and a teacher's ability to do that is really what makes the job challenging and makes teachers professional. They're not just delivering rote content. They're making adjustments and customizing that to the individuals who are in front of them. And so I think that type of assessment happens every day. So we have sort of teacher-based assessment. We have regular assessment that happens in a timely way, and then we have state assessment that helps make sure that we're moving in the right direction. I think overall we're moving in the right direction, and we always are more interested in growth than we are in absolute performance.
All right. Lots of testing words. Speaking of curriculum, the district has received a few grants recently. Both of them sort of addressing curriculum. One is ELA focused, one is health focused. Talk to me about those.
I think the larger one is a PRISM grant, and the state is looking at legislation. So what's sort of an anathema in Massachusetts is having the state tell you sort of how to teach what, they always say what to teach, but don't tell you necessarily how to teach it. What they've seen over the last sort of 10, 20 years is there are states that are much more prescriptive with their how to teach certain things like reading. And those states have seen more growth, maybe not on the absolute performance of Massachusetts, but Massachusetts reading scores have been relatively flat over that same period of time. So there's been some effort in Massachusetts, and I think Ken Gordon, if you really want more details on this, he's in the middle of it, is looking at legislating scientifically validated reading instruction, or sort of the science of reading. So Massachusetts is wading into waters that they are normally reluctant to wade into. They are approving certain curricular programs that are, again, scientifically validated. And then, of course, the unfunded mandate question comes up. So I think the state is also putting money towards districts moving towards these adoptions or the professional development that goes with these options. So again, our literacy team, led by Dr. Chen, Dr. Bonnie Nichols, have applied for and received some of this state money to look at implementing a scientifically validated literacy program at the middle school level. We are already sort of have that program in place at the elementary level, but continuing to make that journey. We'll see how it goes. The legislation, again, is a bit of a new direction for the state of Massachusetts in terms of legislating, prior approved curricula and a methodology, but we'll see. So, and we're exploring that opportunity and always looking for state support, because these efforts are expensive, as you know. The other grant I think we received is a planning grant that has to do with exploring the new health standards that I think were adopted in 2024. We are still using the 1999 standards, which we'll stress. We're not talking about changing them anytime soon. This is an exploratory grant where we're just looking at introducing some new health concepts into the community. Some of those health concepts can be obviously very controversial. You know, unless you're living under a rock, we're having some of those conversations clearly. What's the research basis for that? What's the community's, how does the standards align with the community values? Never want to get too far ahead or too far behind, and making sure that we're trying to do what's best for kids in that sort of way. So this is, again, I want to stress, a planning grant. It's not an adoption grant. And Dr. Chen will be leading those conversations through the Wellness Committee in the upcoming sort of months. So before anything happens or changes, there'll be lots of public conversation.
Great. All right. And I have to look at my list now. Upcoming opportunities for family engagement.
Well, again, I think we've just come through. We had open houses at the middle and high school with the PD Day, I think, last week. We have the joint PTO group is putting together an internet safety night along with the Burlington Police Department and our safety committee. I think that's November 5th, the evening of November 5th at the middle school auditorium. I think that's really important. Again, we'll be reintroducing Smart Social. That's the family sort of option that we have, that they can explore different things that are happening online with kids. So that'll be an important event. We have the debt exclusion vote coming up on November 15th. Again, would encourage everyone to participate in that vote, no matter how they participate or what side they want, but I think participation is something that's important. And that obviously has to do with rebuilding the Burlington High School. Again, we have we have some holidays coming up, which I think are really important to kids and sometimes make school difficult. Halloween is one of them. You remember, I'm sure, from your days in the classroom. The kids are very excited about the end of this week. So, teachers are trying to get everyone to over that hurdle, and so especially our elementary teachers.
Bring in that energy.
So again, we have a lot of exciting times coming up.
Great. Well, if anybody has any questions about the debt exclusion vote that's on November 15th, Burlington Buzz and BCAT have tons and tons of information out there. We've got whole episodes produced about the high school project, about the debt exclusion, what it is, what it means, and still working on making sure that every community member gets access to that information, so make sure you check that out. Any parting words to leave
our fall sports teams? I think all of them have been really successful. Most are making it into sort of the playoffs. I think we just have almost every single team is into the playoffs. Our football team remains undefeated, and Ula, one of our volleyball players, our young women who are playing volleyball, just she's one of 10 student athletes in the state of Massachusetts who I believe surpassed 2,000 serves. Again, we have a lot of athletes accomplishing some great things, and again, that's a tribute to sort of their effort, their coaches, their teammates, everybody. So a lot to celebrate.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to ask about that.
No, I know.
Brackets are dropping this week, starting today.
So we're looking forward to again continued success in the playoffs. And again, I do want to make sure I just have a shout out to our elementary classroom teachers, because they are implementing, as we discussed our last update, a new very comprehensive literacy program. And again, as I said, many are stating it's like their first year teaching again, and that is we're asking a lot of our elementary classroom teachers and all of our elementary support staff, and they are just rising to the occasion. So I want to say a special thank you to them.
Great. Well, I'm sure the upcoming holidays will be nice and restful, hopefully, for those teachers who are kind of pulling a little bit of overtime there. Great. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
And this is Nicci Kadilak for Superintendent Update. Have a great day.